In the early 90s, the orange juice producer Del Oro acquired land in Costa Rica on the border with Guanacaste National Park. By 1995, the oranges had grown, and the company had to think about how to dispose of the waste. Del Oro planned to build a facility to process peels and pulp into animal feed, which would cost millions of dollars. At that time, ecologists from the University of Pennsylvania, Daniel Janssen and Winnie Hallwachs, offered Del Oro a beneficial deal. The producer would give a piece of forested land to the park in exchange for the right to dispose of biological waste for free in designated areas. In this way, the scientists aimed to improve the soil, which had become infertile due to overgrazing and fire treatment. Del Oro signed the contract and shipped 12,000 tons of orange peels and pulp. However, a year later, Tico Fruit, a competitor of Del Oro, sued, claiming that the producer was polluting the park. After a series of hearings, the project was shut down, and the waste dump was forgotten. In 2013, Janssen and his colleagues decided to return to the site and see how the soil had changed over 16 years. Everything had become so overgrown with trees and creeping plants that I could barely make out a 7-foot sign with bright yellow lettering, which was only a few feet from the road, recalls team member Timothy Truer. In the neighboring fields, I walked on stones and dead grass, but here I had to push through the underbrush and cut a path through the creeping plants, adds his colleague Jonathan Choi. To understand how the soil had changed, the scientists compared two sets of samples. Some samples were taken back in 2000 by Laura Shanks from Beloit College. These data had not been published before, while others were collected in 2014. The researchers also assessed the state of the vegetation. By dividing the area with parallel lines, they measured the diameter of the trees, identified their species, and tagged them. For comparison, similar measurements were taken on a plot on the other side of the road, where orange peels had never been. The analysis showed that the area where waste had accumulated had grown 176% more biomass than the neighboring field. The tree species diversity there was higher, and the soil was richer. Corporations become sources of many environmental problems, which, to be fair, produce what people need, comments David Wilkove, one of the authors of the study. But a huge number of these problems could be mitigated if the private sector and environmental specialists work together. I am confident that we will find a way to use the waste of industrial production to restore tropical forests. This is recycling at its best.